Hi, Queens. Welcome back to another episode of Monday Motivation. It is your big sister, Auntie Queen Daysha here. As always, how was your weekend? I hope y'all know that I'm for real when I say this. Like, you can tell me how your weekend went and I will actually read it. So please feel free to write it down in the comments if you'd like to share with me, because I'd love to see what you guys are up to. So this weekend for me was a mix of up and downs. Like, I can't lie about that. I'm not going to get into too many details about it, but I did get my new summer hair put in, so that was super exciting. I'm doing crochet braids this time around, and I'm trying the Bahamas curl by Expressions. Shout out to Tiana Woe. I saw her video and I was like, ooh, she is killing it, so I want to try it for myself. I have a link to where you can get yours if you're interested, and it will be in the description box. I also wanted to take a moment to say congrats to all of my 2018 grad queens out there. Yes, queens, get that paper. I definitely think that this Monday Motivation will be a good one for y'all, especially those of you that graduated without a job offer. Also, happy Put It in the Universe Day. I'm sure that one day I will find a less wordy way to say this title, but Put It in the Universe Day is the first Monday of every new month, and it is a day in which I want to encourage my audience to put that goal that they've had in the back of their heads brewing for months, out into the universe and actually try to accomplish it. If you follow YAAASS Queen on social media, I'm sure you remember seeing this graphic, which reads, you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals and dreams by simply writing them down. And I will also put a link to where I got this stat in the description box if you want to check it out. It's a really cool article. But yeah, that's basically saying that you have a 50-50 chance to accomplish whatever it is that you want. 50-50. You could say that you want to write a book, learn how to fly a plane, build a rocket ship, pay off your student loans, whatever it is, you could literally write down whatever your heart desires, and you'd have close to a 50% chance of getting it. So I hope that everyone either has or is planning to have a goal list after watching this video today. And I would actually take that one step further and say that you should write it down and keep it somewhere where you can look at it every day. I have a vision board that I keep directly across from my bed so that it's the first thing I see when I wake up and it's the last thing I see before I go to bed. And I know that for some people this might feel intimidating at first because some people might take it as a constant reminder that they haven't reached their goals yet or that their goals feel too big. So for that, I would say if anyone here has been following me since my early BuzzFeed days and remembers that I was in a group called the Test Friends where we tried a whole bunch of different health and fitness trends. We did an episode on trying cardio bar for 5 weeks. And at the end of the video, when we're working out with the founder of Cardio Bar, he says this quote that I have literally never forgotten. And it is, "Exercise just maintains you. Uncomfortable resistance will change you." So when you think about your goals and developing your confidence about these goals, remember that going through the motion of just writing something down that is very easily achievable will just maintain you. You won't really grow from putting down goals that are quite simple. You grow when there is a level of discomfort about achieving the goal that you want. It can't be something that makes you say, oh yeah, this will be hella easy. Your goal in some ways needs to make you feel a little uncomfortable, because then when you achieve it, you will be that much stronger of a person. And I think a perfect example will be, so I have a goal where I want to do a TED Talk one day, but I know I'm not TED Talk ready yet. So I actually, and to take it back even further of how this goal feeds into my overarching goal is that a few months ago, I actualized a dream of mine of being invited back to my high school, Concord Academy, shout out to all my Concord peeps, to do a school assembly. And it had been a while since I had done a public speaking event. I don't mind public speaking. I kind of like it, but I feel a little rusty because I haven't done it in a long time. So I was really nervous about it, but I was also excited at the growth opportunity that would come out of it. I would get to practice developing my stage presence for greater goals, like doing that TED Talk, but I got to do it within a community that I knew really loved and cared about me. So again, it was an uncomfortable experience just because speaking in front of a large large body of people is always uncomfortable, but it was exciting because I knew that once it was over, I wouldn't be the same person that I was when I walked in, and that I would be so much stronger because of the experience. So again, just to say that quote for you, exercise just maintains you, but uncomfortable resistance will change you. So I would just keep that quote in your back pocket for when you're developing your goals. And then if you want an opportunity to practice putting your goals out into the universe, please feel free to join me on Fridays at 1 p.m. PST for the YAAASS QUEEN live stream. So typically this live stream is used for celebrating amazing accomplishments that you make or my audience makes, be it big or small. So if you want a half an hour zap of positivity and dope energy, definitely feel free to check that out Fridays at 1 p.m. PST on Instagram, and the handle is at YesQueenLife. So for all of my new queens checking out Monday Motivation, yes, queen! I am so excited that you're here and that you're ready to reimagine your Monday. Monday Motivation is a weekly segment that I do in which I share a story from my life or an event that's going on in the world with the purpose of helping you see your Monday and eventually the rest of the days in your work week in a new light. Many of us right now approach Monday with an air of negativity because we feel like Mondays are pulling us away from the weekend and that the weekend is the only time we really have to be ourselves. So Monday Motivation is all about helping you figure out how to put more of yourself back into the rest of your week and not feel like you always have to sacrifice opportunities for growth during the week and reserve them for the weekend. So this week's Monday Motivation is called When the Glass is 30% Full. And I am sharing with you out of my vault of personal shortcomings what life was like for me post-graduation when I was unemployed with no sign of a job for miles, and it felt like I had a giant sticky note on my forehead that said, "No's are very welcomed here." So if we're taking it back to senior year Daysha, I began my last year of school with two goals: get a job before graduation, and make a bomb-ass thesis video. So I've been working since I was 12 years old. So finding a job has literally never been an issue for me. I was always super well organized when it came to job stuff. I was best friends with everyone in the career counselor's office. I could literally name every single person that worked in that office. Leslie, Vicky, Valinda, Gretchen, Grace. All of them. Knew every single one. I read all the books you could ever imagine on how to get a job in entertainment. And so I felt like I was well beyond qualified to land some sort of job offer. Now, in retrospect, maybe it's because I didn't write my goal down, but there I was in early May, standing on the front lawn of my college in my cap and gown with a diploma in one hand, student loans in the other, and no job. Now, before this moment, the term unemployment or being unemployed to me was like the apple spinning color wheel of death when your computer is basically frozen. Like my brain just didn't know how to comprehend how you couldn't find a job. But after applying to over 40 jobs and post-grad opportunities and getting either a no or a no response, the universe basically pulled me aside after graduation and said, "Oh girl, you gonna learn about unemployment today. You're gonna have a nice lesson about unemployment." But even in that moment of unemployment, you have to understand that I had many choices in how I chose to handle being without a job. I could have sulked and said that I worked hard for my BA. Why aren't there enough opportunities? I could have gotten angry and ranted on social media about how the education system is a huge scam, which I actually do think, but that's something for an entirely different video. But ultimately, so there were so many choices that I had to choose from. But at the end of it all, I chose an option that would leave me feeling the least sorry for myself. And that was, I chose to keep it moving. So let's take a look at my goals list again. So as you see, I had another task that I was actually able to complete, and that was making a bomb-ass thesis video. So my major in school was media studies, and it was a requirement for me to graduate that I make a thesis video. I knew, however, that I wanted this video to be more than just a senior project, and so I really hustled. You can talk to all of my roommates that I lived with. They never saw me. They would see me come in to get food, leave to go out back to the edit bays, work there for hours. Like I would be at the edit bays from sun up to sundown. Nobody saw me because I knew that once I graduated, I wasn't going to have access to these resources anymore or the people to help me. And I really wanted my thesis video to be something so that I could submit it into festivals, maybe potentially get some notoriety from it. So I was all about the hustle and trying to make this doc look like a real feature documentary. So during my free time in which I wasn't scrolling on Facebook, I was actually looking for student film festivals to enter my thesis video into. And then in addition to doing that, I also found a national playwriting competition sponsored by UCSD, and I wrote my first 3-act play. And as you can see from the picture, I won the competition, which came with a nice trip to San Diego, a staged reading of my play, and a good chunk of money. So during the time in which I was unemployed, in addition to looking for jobs, I would also spend my time editing and entering my play into festivals. So I'm sure a lot of you guys hear all this and it's like, okay, everything's starting to kind of come together for me. So the picture that I'm showing you is a segment of the festival tracker that I made for myself. And as you can see, there are a couple green yeses sprinkled here and there. But for the most part, it's filled with a lot of red no's. So when I counted everything up, I had applied to 24 festivals and competitions, and I only received awards at 7 of them. So I won about 30% of the time, which isn't super stellar, right? But as the optorealist in me would say, it was enough. Sure, seeing the no's hurt, and I could have gotten upset, I could have quit, but I chose not to. I chose to keep it moving, and I chose to continue to edit, polish, and enter my work. Sure, I didn't win 100% of the time, but 30% is still always going to be better than 0% of the times that most people choose not to do anything. So when we think about the takeaways for this Monday motivation, I would say, don't be afraid to put it in the universe. As Richard Giorla said, exercise maintains you, but uncomfortable resistance will change you. So don't be afraid to be clear or intentional about the things that you want out of life. And don't be afraid to let those things make you feel slightly uncomfortable, because that is where the real opportunities for growth will lie. The next one is don't be afraid to write your goals down, because you have a 42% chance. 42%. Y'all, that is pretty much 50% chance to make your goal a reality. And honestly, like, it never hurts to have those odds on your side, especially when the task is so simple. It is unbelievably simple. And it's one of those things where I remember reading in my intern books how the greatest impact that you can make on an employer is just mastering the simple things. Everybody always thinks that if they do this big, grandiose accomplishment, that is the thing that people remember. But I can even say for myself, as someone who tried to hire someone and it just went all the way left, that the greatest thing that you can do to be noticed is to just master the small things. And I think that, you know, I'm talking about that in a job context, but I also just think in life, like, if you can just learn to master the small things, the bigger things will fall into place. And I would say for those of you that want to challenge yourself or take it a step further, you should put this list or vision board in a place where you can glance at it at least once a day. For instance, mine is right above my bed, so I see it every night before I go to bed and every morning when I wake up. The next thing is to remember that graduating without a job is not the end of the world. When I graduated, I had no idea, like none, that BuzzFeed was going to call me a few weeks later and ask me for an interview. However, the only reason why that even happened in the first place is because I hustled and I never stopped putting myself out there. I applied to BuzzFeed in April and they got back to me in late June. So don't get caught up in the instant gratification culture that we live in now. It's not like I applied and they immediately got back to me. Like, I had to constantly keep putting myself out there. And the funny thing is that, so after I accepted the BuzzFeed position, there were jobs that I had applied to way, prior, so like April, May, that I started BuzzFeed in July and they got back to me in July. So as the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. And I would actually say that it's good things come to those that hustle and have patience. So don't let that deter you. Constantly keep putting yourself out there and know that if you hustle hard enough, something will happen. Something will grow. The next one is no is not the worst thing that you could hear. I am someone that has accomplished a lot in my life, but that doesn't mean that I was always told yes every single time. And if anything, I would say that learning how to handle my no's is the thing that has helped lead me to my yeses. There is always something to be learned when someone tells you no, and it's your job to figure out what that learning lesson is and how you can allow it to make yourself better. And then finally, 30% is always, like literally, y'all, 30% is always better than 0%. There are so many people that like to live their lives in the form of a zero-sum game, which means that they think that life is an all or nothing thing. And I truly think that is the worst trap that you could fall into thinking. It is not about all or nothing, but rather it's about how do you make the most out of all of the information that you were given, whether it's good or bad, and slowly work towards using that information to build up your percentage of success. So that's it for Monday Motivation today. If you liked what you listened to, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to both my YouTube channel and the Yes Queen email list so you don't miss out on all of this unapologetic fierceness. I also just wanted to do a quick plug for the new podcast that Eli and I started last week called Real Talk Love Therapy. Real Talk Love Therapy is our new podcast where we hope to create a productive space of discussion to challenge traditionally held views about love and redefine what it means to be a millennial navigating love, sex, and relationships from a POC perspective. So you can read more about it by checking out the article that I wrote on Yes Queen about it, and I'll put a link to that in the description box as well. It's a really good article. I love my articles. I'm having a lot of fun writing them. And then the last thing, don't forget about Feeling Myself Friday. It's a live stream that I do every Friday at 1 on Instagram. And it's just a really cool community of people. Like, I didn't imagine it being one of the things that I would love just because doing a live stream terrified me for so long. But I love the people that come out and we just celebrate ourselves and other people. And so if you really want a little zap of positivity on your Friday, I would definitely feel free to come check it out. I do it for 30 minutes, but obviously, I have people that'll just stop by for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever. And then, don't forget to reimagine your Monday. Don't be afraid to reclaim your time and always find moments in every day that lead to personal growth and self-fulfillment. So, my name is Daysha Veronica, and I will catch you guys next Monday. As always, in love, peace, and unapologetic fierceness. Bye, queens.
Michael B. Jordan is too stereotypically hot. I think he's probably takes too many selfies, and he cares about how much he looks too much in his abs. I like Donald Glover.
Sound really salty. What do you have against Michael B. Jordan? What did he do to you?
Nothing. Just everyone thinks he's super great and hot, but I'm okay. I just don't see what the big deal is.
I feel like this is sitting on your spirit a little bit.
You're opening that up a little bit.
I'm just saying. Okay.
Everyone just talks about Michael B. Jordan.
No.